Oh, hi, Jeff. What are we doing today?
What's up, Ray? We are testing whether or not it makes sense to run a tubeless setup on your road bike. I don't think it's worth the hassle.
I like it. I am a tubeless believer. I think that it definitely seals up small punctures, and it's great for rainy weather, and I can run a lower tire pressure, so I am a tubeless believer.
It's an enormous hassle to set up. You have to have a special pump to make this whole process go smoothly. You have to have, the right wheels, the right tires. You have to have rim tape. You have to have a valve stem that's compatible, which you can't put extenders on. It gets complicated. And then, of course, you need the alien blood, the sealant itself, and you have to put all this together, and it's just, it's such a nightmare. But I agree, there are benefits. You can run a much lower pressure, and then for things like mountain and gravel, it's almost a prerequisite, because once you go off-road, you really start to see the benefits. But for just out, especially in California, I just don't think it's worth all the hassle, because tubes are like old-school technology. I just know how they operate. They're super easy to set up. If you have a problem out on the road, it seems much easier to get them solved. So we're going to do a test, and we're going to find out. It's going to be myself first, Ray. You ready for this, Ray?
Oh, I'm ready.
2 challenges. Challenge number 1, I just want to time how long it takes to set each of these up. And I'm going with the tube setup. Ray's going with the tubeless setup. I think you're going to have some difficulties because it's always a nightmare to set up tubeless. And then challenge number 2, is we're going to go out on a road, throwing you a bone, Ray, because I would normally just do a road training ride, but on the gravel I think is where your tubeless setup is going to shine. So then we're going to crown a champion, and we're going to find out if tubeless is worth it on a road setup. Stay tuned.
3, 2, 1, go!
You win!
We're not looking too bad over here. Oh my god.
That did take longer than expected.
Yeah, a lot longer for
So
me.
I definitely won round 1, I would say. But will you make up for it in round 2?
I sure hope so. After all that,
Let's get the bikes loaded up. Let's go up to the mountain, do some bike riding. All right, bud, we're here. Challenge number 2, we have a dirt road behind us. I think it gets technical, I'm not sure.
yeah, I mean, we're going to find out for sure. I'm hoping it's technical for tubeless' sake, but we'll see.
I know it's undulating, so the downhill is definitely where you're gonna try to get away from me. And that's how we're gonna decide who wins challenge number 2. If Ray can drop me. I am stubborn, but I have limitations on my equipment that I think are gonna show now that we're on the gravel segment. So, should we send it?
Oh yeah,
Let's rip it.
Get ready.
Your name?
Phil.
Phil.
Phil Lee.
So what's your age?
66.
66 and climbing Montebello. That's super impressive, man. Do you have tubes or no tubes on your bike?
Tubes, yeah.
So Ray, I just want the record to show that we have team tubes
Yes.
over here.
Very wise decision.
Do you mind if I ask you if you're riding tubes or tubeless?
Tubeless.
Tubeless.
Yes!
All right.
Are you
Two.
Are you
And tubeless because.
That's what my husband said I should do. My
Look at-
husband is the gearhead.
And look at that, specialized.
Roubaix.
That's the way to go. I love your setup.
Thank you. Yeah.
Since you went tubeless, have you had a flat?
No. Thank
How long
God.
has it been?
A year and a half on this bike.
Without a flat?
That's impressive.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, it's looking better for you, Ray. It wasn't looking good for a bit, but it's looking better for you now. We're
Yeah.
trying to decide
No, tubeless.
tubes or tubeless.
I think all my bikes are tubeless now.
For my equipment right now, these are tubeless and they are holding. We haven't had a leak yet. And I decided to ride 45 PSI on the front and 50 on the rear. Given my weight and size and understanding of tubeless, I think that's going to be a good combination. Hopefully it works out for me. Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, as we discussed, I set it up in about 5 minutes, winning round 1 handily. But this is where Ray's going to exact his revenge. Because, yeah, they're the same volume tires. I don't know if we mentioned that yet. They're the same volume tires between the tubed and the tubeless setup. But because I'm running tubes, I can't run it at 45 PSI. I'll pinch flat like right there. Like it won't take me very long. And that's because of the tube that's inside there. So I have to run at a higher PSI. Well, if I run it at a higher PSI, then I'm going to not have that control because the tires aren't going to grip the road and the gravel like his will, even though they're the same volume. So that's the drawback. I'm going to really struggle to hold Ray's wheel, but there's going to be certainly a limitation of the equipment that I'm riding, and we're going to see how much that is. Don't forget the rules. We're going up to that vista at the very top, and then we are turning around. First person back to the car wins round 2.
Awesome. I'll try my best to wait patiently.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go! Ah, legs are cold.
I know. I'm going hard right now.
Okay, we've started challenge number 2, the gravel race, to figure out if
yeah.
Tubeless has any advantages over Tubes. And I've decided I'm just going to do my normal voiceover like this, like my normal race commentary. So this is an out and back race. The way out is mostly uphill with some rollers early on, and then the way back is fast and windy. And in theory, Ray's Tubeless setup is going to perform much better, especially on the corners and the descents, because he'll just have so much better grip running like 40 psi, not worrying about pinch flats, not worrying about losing traction as much as me. On the other hand, I had to make up time in the first half on the way out because it's, like I said, it's mostly uphill, and I knew I would probably lose time on the descents back to the car. So I pretty much just went threshold up the climbs, didn't look back.
Hello. Are you riding Tubeless? Are you riding Tubeless? Awesome! One more, Jeff!
And by the time I hit the turnaround, that's when I first started to encounter the really crappy loose gravel. I mean, just getting turned around without washing out or flatting was a chore in and of itself, and it took me probably 10 seconds longer than I would have liked. And starting my descent, that's when I caught my first glimpse of Ray and saw the gap that I had, and just hoped that it would be enough to the finish. But he ended up catching me not long after that. He was taking some pretty wicked lines and even fishtailing a couple of the corners. So it eventually came down to this last little climb before the finish, and this was my last chance to get away from him and get back to the car first.
Woo! Ah!
You got a flat? It looks low.
I found a flat! I knew it! I knew it!
Listen to that.
The sound of victory, Ray!
All right, anyways, I'll see you, bye.
You seeing that? We are flat.
Wow.
How you doing? Oh, cozy. No! I had you!
Yeah, actually,
I had you!
I know. I wasn't even...
I had a little gap. I knew you were gonna close it down right here, but dude, we couldn't have scripted that. I mean, I kind of half expected that was gonna happen, but
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, honestly, I wasn't 100% sure if he actually flatted, but you kept checking your back, and I was like, maybe if I say he flatted, he'll wait.
I knew it. I was just going too fast. That's it right there, guys. That is why tubes at 80 psi is a bad idea. Even at 100, I mean, at 100 I would have crashed. I probably wouldn't have pinch flatted, but I would have crashed. At 80 or lower, you pinch flat.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the car, kind of wrap this up, but.
Yeah, I guess I'll see you there. Anyways, have fun walking.
I flatted.
Yeah, you did.
I figured that might happen. I was going pretty fast on the downhills because I had to, because that's where you were getting away from me.
Yeah, I mean, on the climbs, I was pretty much falling apart, but I was kind of hoping that I would make up some ground on the descents. And I was, fully gunning it on some of the descents. I was definitely at the limit.
Tell you, that one moment, you blew past me.
Yeah.
Pretty fast. I was like, where is he? Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, winner. Round 2.
Thank you.
So that puts us 1-1. If you guys want a tiebreaker, we can make another video, but I think we still have some conclusions about today's findings.
Yep.
So I won the build. I wrapped up that pretty quickly. Took you some time, made a mess in my garage, but we kind of expected that. It's always a pain, but it might be worth it because you didn't flat.
I didn't flat? No.
And let's talk about the road quality, because that wasn't even that hard or technical of a gravel road. And even still, I flatted. So if you really want to go exploring, like tubes, I hate to say it, tubes probably isn't your best bet. But is it worth all the hassle? And that's up to you guys to decide, because for me, I do that on occasion. I'm kind of spoiled. I have the option to run 2 different wheel sets. But if I only could do one, I would still personally do tubes only, because I don't go do gravel all that often.
Yeah, there's definitely easier ways to set up tubeless. I think I struggled a lot just because I'm not like the best mechanic, but to be honest, every mechanic that I've talked to.
But you're a mechanic and you've done this before.
Exactly, yeah. To be honest, every mechanic that I've talked to has at least a handful of horror stories on tubeless. There's always something that might go wrong.
Yeah, yeah. For today, the sun is going down, and that's a wrap. Had a blast. Ray, good having you on, man.
Thank you.
Talk to you guys soon.